Ready or not, as Damon said, here it comes. Hey, everybody, it's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and you see my guys here with me. Hello, Cameron Riley.
Hey, Sybil. Hey, Damon. What's going on?
What's up? What's up? Hey, Sybil. Hey, Cam.
Hey, Damon. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about my guys and hanging out without me. First of all, though, we do want to talk about Cam's vacation
Oh,
and how that
whoa.
all ended up. Last we spoke with you, I just I kill myself sometimes. I'm sorry, Cameron.
Hashtag vacation.
A
Love
vacation. Well, was it not?
it. I'm trying to think who is watching tonight. Yeah. It was. It was a great time to relax. Great time in California. Great time to reset. I'm happy to be back home in Chicago, though. I didn't get off the plane without a bit of an altercation, but maybe we'll have time to talk about that later.
Oh, I do want to hear that. I do want to hear. And
Yeah.
also, you when you came home, you also had a night out with your number one girl, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, man. The OG, Crystal Townsend herself. How you doing, Mob? I when I got back, I had mentioned on the show last week, Damon, that I was gonna swing by Riddles, and so I decided to follow up on that. And I saw not only yourself, but AJ franchise. It was a really good show. Um, and I kind of snuck up on Damon. I had my mask on, so
Sure.
when he first saw me, I don't know if he was getting flashbacks from his time out there on the streets, um,
Wow.
but it was a really great time.
Oh, I can only imagine being in the home of Damon Williams comedy there at Riddles, as well as the comedy stylings of Damon and the one and only AJ Jamal. I bet that was quite a time. How's
Yeah.
everything going with you, Damon?
Everything's going well. I just finished some yard work because this is leafy season.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, there's leaves everywhere. I live out in the south suburbs, so it's trees and every year I dread these big ass leaves. I wish they would just leave. Uh, but one of the comedians. One time I was complaining. I posted. I'm like, man, I got all these leaves on the ground. Look at these trees, still feel the leaves. He's like, and you should thank the Lord for each and every leaf because that means you have a home and blah blah blah. So,
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
wow.
My man Big Kenny out of he's from Chicago, but he lives in Atlanta now. Yeah, he put that bit of wisdom on me. I guess he got an apartment. I don't know.
Damon,
So,
I wanted to mention to you, but I forgot last time I saw you that your comedy style reminds me of Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor.
Wow.
It's
wow.
it's really something to see. It's like very active, like
Very physical.
yes, it's very physical, and you embody a lot of characters like Richard. Um, but it's just so damn hilarious, like Eddie. It was just really fun to see, man.
Isn't it
Man,
great?
thanks, man.
It is great to watch him work. It really is. And I go back with Damon a very long time. And I just to see how he, even in such a short period of time, how he just blew up, and just to watch his growth and his success is always great to see. And that's why we have just had you as such a stand up guy and such a great a part of this show, as well as the Tom Joyner show. I'm just really appreciative of your time and your talent, Damon.
Well, I appreciate both of you all. Thanks for the flowers. Uh, Speaking of Tom, so well, why the hell weren't you on the cruise? I know what I did. I know exactly why I was not even considered this year, but I was just
uh,
curious to know why you couldn't make it out there.
let's just say that the timing was very short notice.
Okay, it was awkward. There you go. Which is some mess. But anyway, yeah.
So I saw I did people sent me pictures and things, and I saw
Mm.
others on Instagram. I saw your boy Dollar Bill and
Yeah. It
all
was
the
it was
folks.
so weird to be on this side of those pictures, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It was cool though. I
absolutely.
mean, because I had the Urban League and we had Babyface surprise and all of that, but it was a little weird. A lot of the people, hit us up and said they missed us being over there, blah blah blah. But it was interesting. Yeah, I knew what I did. I mean, I understand why I ain't on. I just want to know who you cussed out, because
Well, as someone told me, you need to send kids to college. So, okay. So Khameron, tell me about what happened on the plane on your way back.
Yeah.
Look at that. See how she shifted that off. Go ahead.
So it was a 4-hour flight from California to Chicago, and I'm on Southwest, so it's open. So it's open seating, and typically the culture on Southwest is they do a nice orderly disembarkation. I was sitting toward the rear, and I had a little biological situation that I needed to attend to, so I got my butt up and decided to exit the plane post haste. To which a patron shouted out, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Somebody stop the a-hole!" Now I'm in Chicago. Okay, I am in my city. Okay, so my South Side hubris kicked in. Okay, I turned around to this person and said, "Are you talking to me?" And I could feel the whole plane go silent.
Anybody go doom?
The person's face was flush red, so you can tell what kind of color that they were.
Yeah.
And they just kept muttering to themselves. And I said, "I say again, were you talking to me?" And they didn't say anything. And I said, "Now, if you were talking to me, you would have said it to my face." And I just kept on working. I just kept on walking. I got my stuff and walked off the plane. Someone later come up to me and said, "Hey, I'm really sorry that they called you that." And I said, I'm not, because I will wait for them right off this plane. I'll wait for you right off of 55th and Cicero. I swear. So
that would be the location of Midway Airport there.
It is, yeah. So, I was back home. I was feeling myself a little bit, and I had time.
Yeah, you had time today.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't
those. Well, what better way to call you an asshole but to your ass? You don't want it to your face.
Right. Exactly. It's cowardice. Coward.
Yeah. Now, we already know that these people out here are high strung, and you want to try to avoid confrontation, because you don't want to end up on Shade Room or Baller Alert as the scholar from the Sybil Wilkes show slapping the hell out of Karen. So yes, you gotta let it roll off your back sometimes.
Yeah, you can. You have no idea how many people on that plane probably had the cops on speed dial. So
right.
Okay. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. Those Kevins and what do we call the male? I mean, do we call them Kevins or do we call them
Kens? I don't know.
Karens and Kens. Okay.
Yeah, Kens. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good.
So let's talk about what's going on in the world. A lot in terms of murder trials. The prosecution has rested in the murder trial of the men charged in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. We'll talk about that more in the What You Need to Know newsletter. That is one of our stories. But just to know that as of today, this evening, the prosecution did rest. And so now it's up for the defense. And we'll talk about all the other things that have come out in that case regarding the defense attorney and their motions for a mistrial as a result of who was in the courtroom. First day of jury deliberations in the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial, and the jury has finished for the day. No decision has been rendered there. But this is really interesting in that a lot of people are giving grief to this prosecutor. He really, God bless him. I don't know who he is or what he did to tick off so many people, but I do like him. The prosecutor who just caught all kinds of grief from the judge during the process of this trial. He got a lot of grief yesterday. They said that he's drawn a lot of comments regarding the pointing of the AR-15 directly at the jury. And critics are comparing his conduct to the fatal shooting on the set of Rust. This was the Alec Baldwin movie in which, unfortunately, a woman was killed, a member of the crew. The assistant DA, Thomas Binger, was in the middle of his closing argument. He tried to stage a reenactment of the scene captured on the video of what happened with Rittenhouse and those that he killed just before he opened fire, killing 2 and wounding a 3rd. But my thing was, I wanted those people to feel what it was like to have that gun, just as those men who were killed and wounded felt face to face with Kyle Rittenhouse, babyface Nelson, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not like not the most astute legal counsel, but I know that in these closing arguments, you really want to tug at the jury's heartstrings. You want to
Yeah.
appeal to pathos, and um, showing people the power of these assault weapons, knowing the fear that the victims of Rittenhouse felt. You really got to drive that point home.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I don't blame him at all. People just reaching. I think prosecution is doing a good job though, knowing that Kenosha is very much a pro gun ownership state.
The state is Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's really trying to appeal to like responsible gun owners.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Damon, what do you think about the way, I don't know how much you got to see of this, of the final, especially the last couple of days of the trial?
Well, the judge seems very biased. First of all,
Very.
he's very pro defendant. His posturing, his verbiage throughout the trial has been off for him to be impartial. In fact, David Axelrod called him a de facto defense attorney
Yeah.
on the bench. And then the pointing of the gun. Come on now, what are the chances of there being a loaded weapon in a courtroom?
Right.
You know, by now, of course, everybody's already taken precautions. So to compare that to that movie set where it was the chance of it happening, it should have been even slimmer as well. It's ludicrous to try to bring that up as an issue for mistrial. Plus, like Cameron said, and everybody said, this is a young man who intentionally crossed the state line, went hunting for victims and found them and killed them. And you know, the fact of whoever they were and what they were doing out there, if he hadn't taken his butt out there, nobody would be talking to him or about him or in this courtroom. So
Right.
anything that they do to convict him for his actions, I'm all for it.
And the kid who in social media said, just trying to be famous, bro.
Yeah.
You know that and here we are. Here's what you're famous for murder, and whether he gets off or not. But you're absolutely right about the judge. I mean, from the moment that they started the trial, and he said that the victims could not be called victims. They were
Yeah.
looters and rioters.
Right. Yeah.
So, as you said, de facto defense attorney in this case. And so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. What was really interesting to me was 18 people as a part of the jury listened to this, and then it was whittled down to 12. And it was like they were picking numbers from a bingo case or container for numbers from bingo. And this kid, Rittenhouse, got to pick 6 of the people. 12 people were selected. He got to pick 6. The judge had him pick 6 of them.
Allowed him to play with Bozo's drum like he was a kid.
Like the grand prize game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if that's the standard protocol, and I don't think it'll sway the situation anywhere, but just the optics of it, allowing him to have a part in that. You know, he should really, the whole jury selection was already a major farce as far as them trying to eliminate all the people who they thought were biased, and then to have him the opportunity to stick his hand in there and pick out who he gets, even though it's random, it's still, it's off just from an optics standpoint, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's absolutely. So as I said, the jury has gone home for the night, and they will pick up tomorrow with their deliberations. This is a sad story, and condolences go out to Keisha Cole. She's lost another family member.
Oh, no.
This is her adoptive father, Leon Cole, has died from COVID. It was just a few months ago, remember this summer, that her mother, Frankie, her birth mother, died from an overdose. Now, Mr. Leon Cole, the only father she's ever known, lost his battle with COVID, and her tribute that she put on social media was really touching, talking about his devotion to her throughout her life and her childhood, even though she was not his blood. And she said he made sure, even though he wasn't my biological father, to keep a stable foundation and roof over all of our heads during our upbringing. And she said it was him who imparted valuable lessons on religion, values, relationships, and especially with women and duty. And she said the most loving guy I've ever known. So condolences to her. And as I said, she said that he was the most stable force in her life. and really dictated, how to move on from relationships. And she said, with the men in my life, you can see that, I didn't put up with a lot, and he taught me that. So,
And shouts out to him, Mr. Cole, because he sounds like a good old stepdaddy. Mr. Leon, you said Mr. Leon coming on over. And he had to be a very patient dude because Frankie was a mess.
Right.
Her mama. So shouts out to old Mr. Leon, man. And may he rest peacefully. But that sounds like the ultimate stepdad, Mr. Leon.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. So here we have a recall of a product, and Costco is telling folks, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Costco is recalling Kool-Aid canisters due to possible presence of metal and glass in these 82.5-ounce canisters of the tropical punch flavored Kool-Aid. It's been recalled due to possibly containing small pieces of metal or glass. They said members who purchase the Kool-Aid at their store should not use it, return it to their local Costco for a full refund. Now, the recalled products involve some best when used by dates between June 13th, 2023 and October 3rd, 2023. Not all products in that date range are being recalled, they say, so consumers should call the company. But just to be on the safe side, if you are in that range and it's tropical punch, 82.5-ounce canister, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't try to, it's like, just don't.
Not the Kool-Aid.
Not the Kool-Aid. Man, come on. The tropical punch Kool-Aid. We'll put metal and glass in that.
Which was the best flavor of Kool-Aid, but let's be honest, if you're buying an 82-ounce canister of Kool-Aid, you ain't really too concerned about your health anyway.
Or for those little ones that are going to be drinking it, right?
Man, come on, man. Kool-Aid, who is still buying and making Kool-Aid? It takes so much sugar to make Kool-Aid tasty. It's you don't care about yourself. You're already over with.
A shout out to those that are making using those large canisters of all those products, Kool-Aid, iced tea, whatever it is, Yolanda Starks White that you're using. Be careful.
Country Time lemonade.
Not the Country Time.
You know who you are. You don't care about yourself. Drink some water.
But it tastes bad.
I do drink my water in my Kool-Aid. No.
So Cam, were you one of those kids in a Kool-Aid household, or were you just drinking water? Did your folks make you drink the water instead of the Kool-Aid?
What my mom would do is every time when we killed like an orange juice thing, she would keep it and then take the Country Time lemonade and then mix it up and then make her own lemonade to like keep us going throughout the week. So Country Time lemonade was our jam. The only time I ever purchased massive amounts of Kool-Aid in bulk was to make my secret jungle juice recipe during my brief stint in undergrad. Long time ago.
Okay. All right. Jungle juice?
Yes.
Did it make you go wild?
Oh man, yeah, Tang. Oh, that's a throwback.
Ooh,
yeah.
That is ooh, I just got
Tang.
shivers.
Well, at least Tang already had his own sugar in it. You could just mix and go with the Tang.
I just remember the Tang being very not sweet, but sugar. I mean, tangy. It lived up to its name. It was kind of bitter to me.
Yeah, we were all sprung on it because they told us that the astronauts were using
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, I was just like, oh, I want to drink what the astronauts are drinking. My daddy's like, okay, little girl, have some Tang, whatever. But
and follow that up with a Pop-Tart and go to school and walk on your hands and do jumping jacks. That's why we had to have recess. You start your day with Tang and Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, you gotta run all that out.
Yeah, let them kids run around. Yeah, recess, then lunch, then recess.
And gym class right after that, just to keep it going. And while the teachers are in there smoking.
The teachers lounge stays smoky. And that's the only time you would have a musty girl back right after recess in gym. I ain't gonna say her last name, but her name was Valerie. Used to be musty as a skunk.
I hope Valerie got it together now.
You've given us quite the visual and the scent memory there.
Indeed. Scratchy sniff, I'm telling you. I think Musty Girls was worse than Musty Boys. It was a different kind of must because it take a while for a girl to get musty.
But there are those among us that really did, and to this day, we still have those issues with our little girls, and so we just need to stay on top of that. But God bless them, because once they get to school and folks remember them for that takes on a whole nother thing. I mean, Damon, we're talking a couple of years later, and still Val is in your head.
A couple of years. I'm talking about third grade, and I can still smell Valerie. This wasn't college. This was Wendell Green Elementary.
We're getting comments from the Musty Girl, and she said, "Stop."
Sorry, Val. I didn't tell you last name.
And I think it was Williams. So let's. I'm sorry, folks. I shouldn't get this involved in things like this.
My shenanigans.
Yes, but Damon is one of those guys back in class, and he would start something, and we would just get carried away and just.
Yep. Don't let it be a sub.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah.
We should do that one day. We should go back in school days and talk about some of our memories and things like that. I would love to hear about you guys, and Khameron, especially being the as Damon has dubbed you, the intellectual that you are. You're politically astute. You're talented in the arts, and I want to hear about you in the classroom, and maybe some of your friends will be able to lean in and tell us the real truth behind Khameron Riley.
I had to fight, Sybil.
Well, we know that.
Oh,
we know you weren't afraid to do that, and it's carried on into your adult years.
Khameron is like Coke 45. Don't let the smooth taste fool you.
Okay.
He will snap on you on the plane.
Yeah.
Air marshals be damned. Say it again.
Don't make them turn that plane around.
Right.
All right, gentlemen, it's now time for what's really going on. And this is just an opportunity for folks that are watching and listening to take a deeper dive into a political, not into a particular situation. And this is a story of another person moving off the grid in preparation for the apocalypse. And so I'll tell you the story, but as I'm telling you the story, I want to you all to think about, could you do it? And also kind of devise your list of things that you would find difficult to give up if you were going off the grid, or if you were a part of this woman's family. She's 37 years old. She and her husband have 2 kids, and they moved her family from Alaska into the wilds of Alaska, off the grid, to help them train for a possible disaster that could result in the world ending. She's been preparing for a life-changing disaster since 2010, this 37-year-old woman, and has enough canned food to last 6 months. If she's been preparing for this since 2010, I'm thinking she got more than 6 months worth of food, but okay. After being unable to charge her phone during a brief power out, she realized a few years ago how dire her situation would be if her electricity was permanently shut down. So she began to research and do all of this information and prepping for this doomsday that she thought was coming, and perhaps a zombie apocalypse. Okay. She began to look into other potential disasters and ensure her family was protected as possible. So, gentlemen, I ask you this, and I am a creature of comfort. So I will tell you that preparing for this, and I know people that, for periods of time, they live off the grid. This is, they eat the food that they grow, the animals that they kill, all of this stuff, in preparation for the time when they may have to. So I'm curious from you guys, would you, and what might you, just give me one thing that you might do. But Khameron, first of all, do you think you could live off the grid? Do you think you could go without the creature comforts?
I would like to think that I'm that kind of person, that I could just drop everything and, I don't know, just get rid of all of the electronics and the video games and just chill.
See, you like to think that you could.
Yeah, I like to think so, but come a zombie apocalypse and I start eating meat again, and I got to go hunting for squirrels, I'd give myself less than a week.
I would kill the
think.
squirrels for you because I hate squirrels, but I don't know if I could eat
Okay,
it.
great. Okay, cool. So you're on my team. You kill the squirrels. Got it.
I would kill the squirrels for you if I could drive over them in my hybrid. So-
Now
That's our
that
point, Sybil.
if that ain't an oxymoron or a
how great is that, right?
awesome.
So would it be? Do you really think that you could give up your games, your electronics?
I think so. I think sticking to my like plant-basedness would be pretty hard, considering how scarce food is. I would probably I'd give myself less than a week. I think there's no way I could go back to eating Vienna sausages and spam or whatever.
Or as
Zombies,
Myra J likes to call it, Vienna
yeah,
sausages.
the zombies would get me just by the rumbling of my stomach alone.
There he is.
Yep.
But you wouldn't have to stop eating plant-based. Plants everywhere. You just have to develop a new taste for plants. You have to
Real
trees,
plants.
trees, shrubs, bushes, grass.
Shrubs,
All you need is some lorries.
grass,
You
and
have lorries,
wild fungi
you can eat everything around you, bro.
with some seasoned
Mushrooms are fungi.
Yeah. The human spirit is more resilient than you think. But I
That's
know,
right.
I mean, I would think since I'm already a person that's in solitude a lot, as long as I got my wife
hmm
and we don't need the electronics. We laugh and joke, we talk. We need a comfortable place to lay down. She wouldn't make it because she wouldn't have cable without her shows, even though she's a reader. So actually, if we had some books and a bed, I think we get through it.
And what could it be any bed? Because I thought about this because I have a great mattress right now, and it just kind of it vibrates a bit and helps me go to sleep.
Oh,
I don't know that I could. I've become quite accustomed to it now. Over the years I could rock myself to sleep, but now I don't have to do that so much. The bed does it for me. The mattress does it for me. Is it a special kind of mattress, or would you just be able to, take one out your mama's house?
You know what? I'm gonna take all that back because I've watched Naked and Afraid, and I wouldn't make it to the commercial. I wouldn't make it to the commercial. When they be out there, you get to bring one item, a knife or a pot or a lighter. Man, ain't no damn way. Let's hope this hypothetical scenario never comes true. And I feel sorry for that woman's kids because they was already living in Alaska, and you're gonna go off the
right.
grid
Yeah.
from Alaska into the wilds of Alaska. That's one thing. It had to be a warm climate. Secondly, child services need to check on them people because them kids shouldn't have to go through that. That is abuse to make them live off the grid for practicing for the end of the world. And then if you only got 6 months supplies, so you're gonna live 6 months more than everybody else. None of this is adding up.
And then
Yeah,
what? I mean,
congratulations.
Right.
she just not, and her husband was like, okay, I guess we'll go along with your mama. But it just it just doesn't make any sense to me.
She watches too much Walking Dead, I think.
And well, Naked and Afraid will do it to you too. It's
Yeah.
just like that's the other side of it, and
That
make
is
you
a reality
realize.
check, man. There are people out there and they're like, ooh, this bark tastes delicious. And you can see it.
Well,
They have worms and all types of stuff. That's some protein right there. And you're like, no, dog, I'm sorry.
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
mm-mm.
if it happened in the Midwest, I'm just gonna break in all the Walmarts until they're empty, and then I'm gonna garner.
David,
Tanya.
this is for you.
Okay.
Tanya Perry on YouTube says you could live on your took a loose boat.
Yeah, there you go. The good old took a loose, which is still AWOL. It's over with.
The season is done and still nothing from Mr. Christian on the phone, huh?
Man, don't make me start cussing on this, people. Thank you all for keeping track, though.
But Damon, that's another alternative. Do you think you could live on your boat, provided the boat was running and up and
Oh
serviceable?
yeah, oh yeah. Now that you can sustain because I had everything on it. Like you got the kerosene stove. You got a toilet, but you got to dump it.
Yeah.
I got a little bed area. Yeah, it was very, it's livable. I mean, people that like if I had the loot, I would get me a nice boat and live off it in Florida in the winter. I just have a
Mhm.
houseboat. You know, that would be a dope way to go about it. As long as you have the running water and the showers and the toilet, you know, everything else is there. But you can't do it on the Took-a-Loose.
Reggie Barnes is on Facebook and he says, Damon, please tell the story of the Took-a-Loose boat.
We can't tell the story. I just tell you it was a guy and he's a preacher. And his name of his shop is Christ One Auto Repair. Well, we get it done right the first time. If you call it, that's the killing part. Hello, friend. This is brother so and so at Christ One Auto. Now he got my boat and he took it loose. I was like, man, I just want it back. Well, you can't come get it because I'm like, you ain't gonna fix it. Let me come get it. You can't come get it because it's took a loose. That's where that came from, people. And my boat has been spotted. Like the other boat is like, I saw your boat on 79 for Cottage. I saw your boat on 147 for Halsted. Because he moved it from his shop. So it's been, last time I saw it was on 115th in Peoria, right on the corner. True story. That's somebody's yard. So no boat should be on these many land locations if it's being worked on together or took a loose.
Damon, I would pay money to see you on stage telling the Took-a-Loose story, because here's the other thing, Cam, he also played us the man's voicemail, outgoing message. And between him, the name of the shop, his voice, and Damon's just utter disgust with his situation.
It's a bad situation, man. And thank you for bringing it up. And thanks for making me relive it, Reggie Barnes. I'm telling you, I went down to the docks once this year because I couldn't stand to be around it without, having my own. And they was like, man, so you coming down? Like, no, so I'm waiting on my boat. They're like, the same boat? The wives and everything. I know you're waiting on that same boat.
Evelyn Gatlin is on YouTube asking, how long has this minister had your boat?
He went through 2 summers.
Wow.
And I gave it to him at the end of, so this was actually, I missed 2 seasons messing with him because, COVID summer, I left it alone. And then this summer, which he had plenty of time to work on it during COVID. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, that's a sad story. I've been looking for another one, but actually we had fun doing other things this summer. I was more into like bike riding the lakefront and traveling a little bit more this summer. But next summer I need a boat. So come spring, I think I'll be, and it ain't got to be elaborate. My boat was not a major boat. It wasn't like I'm out here yachting and balling and doing Jay-Z videos. It was just something that made it across the water. My family could enjoy it. And he even lied to me and told me, I was like, yeah, when it's going to be ready? You'll be ready by Sunday. You'll be fine. Matter of fact, tell your mother, because I know your mama like to go out there. Tell your mother to get her hat ready and y'all going to be just fine. That was 2 years ago. He literally told me to get your mama ready. That's when I called and cussed him out. And then he don't like you to cuss at him.
Right.
So when I said, man, this is some bullshit, he was like, I like for you to say that in front of me. Wait till you see me in person to talk like that. That's disrespectful. I don't like that. I said, man, I don't give a Anyway.
We have taken Damon really off of his cool, just thinking about life on the grid. And now I don't know if we'll ever be able to bring him back tonight, Cameron. I really don't. Bless his heart. I'm sorry, Damon.
Yes.
But I will tell you that I would find it very difficult to live off the grid. As I mentioned, the one thing that I think about is my bed, which I absolutely love. But I mean, it's just the creature comforts. I think that, in terms of eating off a stove and, all of that kind of stuff, I just, and no Uber Eats coming anywhere near you.
And let's be honest, we've all gotten more appreciative of our creature comforts in our homes because we were locked down. So everybody kind of made the best of it. So to be in a place where you couldn't have what you have set up to be comfortable during the pandemic to make it worse, yeah, that'd be rough.
Yeah. It's damn near impossible as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know. I'm like you, Cam. I think I could go plant-based, but like Damon has pointed out, those plants are a different kind of plant-based than what we're talking about, in this new school world of savory food items.
Yeah, and I'm thinking after about 3 weeks tops, I'm gonna go ahead and just have a zombie bite me. I'm just gonna join the zombie. Let me eat some of these other losers that's walking around here all normal.
I tried the survival thing. It was fun. All right, come on. Just
right
here. Right.
Just a little nibble on the neck and
let's get it over with. Right.
Exactly.
Find me a freaky zombie.
I think you're married to her. I'm not sure.
I don't think she would be zombie first.
All right, guys.
You watch too many of them shows. She would survive The Walking Dead and all of that. Trust me.
That's great. Cherie King on Facebook says, I'm feeling so much better after hearing the wants and needs of Damon's boat.
Man.
Something beautiful in sharing our traumas with one another.
Yes. Laughing my pain.
Yes, there's healing.
And thank you for that healing moment. I appreciate you guys.
This is now an IV. I'm feeling sick.
Let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our daily newsletter, Monday through Friday daily. It is in your email box if you subscribe. If you don't, please go to SybilWilkes.com and subscribe to our free newsletter. And we talk about things that pertain to the African American community, especially some things that, a little bit out of the community, but definitely affect our world. And that is the focus of Khameron's story today. And speaking of food and food items, Khameron asked, "What's our beef with China?" And I wanted to do something like "You'll be hungry an hour later," but it didn't seem appropriate in terms of when you're talking about international detente between the United States and China. So give us your thoughts about this. And was anything accomplished too there, Khameron, as the presidents had their conversation yesterday?
Yeah, well, Sybil, the original name for the article was going to be "This is how the egg roll gets made," but I decided against
I like
it.
that.
Okay, cool, great. So after COP 26, President Joe Biden and President of China Xi Jinping decided to unite to bring the world's carbon footprint down a certain number by, I think, 2030 or 2060. The issue, however, is that China and the U.S. have a lot more to talk about before they start talking about climate change, which is a whole nother issue in itself. Sybil, I don't know if you recall, but President Trump and President Biden, when they were running against one another, they didn't agree on a lot, but they both agreed to be tough on China, whatever that means. And so I didn't know what that meant, so I did a bit of digging, and I discovered that China's been a bit of a thorn in our side
for a while.
They had a very fast growing economy. They grew their middle class sector almost overnight. So people in China are living a lot more well than they used to a decade ago. They have a lot more buying power. They have a lot more nuclear power. They have a lot more military might. And they've been hacking us a lot. They've been stealing our personal information of government officials, of passport data, and so they've got a lot to answer for. What they don't like is the United States meddling in Taiwan, especially in the South China Sea, which is this crucial trade route across the entire world. There have been some troubling remarks from Xi Jinping saying that if the United States continues to meddle in Taiwan, it'd be like we're sitting on a powder keg, which is not good.
That kind of threat you don't take lightly.
Right. And so the world, or the United States, is waiting with anticipation to see what, tough on China really means and whether or not Joe is going to back it up. These are the leaders of two of the most powerful nations, two of the largest militaries. And we don't want to see them go to war with one another.
Right.
But I don't think that a war is going to happen. We're in this global economy now. Everyone's kind of economically dependent on one another. And all China and the U.S. has to do is just figure out how they both can get rich. And then we're both going to be okay.
So let me ask you this, and I've been thinking about this as I was reading your story and wondering, would there ever be a coalition between China and North Korea, which is scary to me, and I'm thinking to other people, but my military knowledge and what they are capable of doing is very limited. But I'm wondering if that have you ever heard of any conversation about the linkage between not South Korea but North Korea and China?
Yeah, so China doesn't have many global allies. Their only ally is North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I in my digging, I don't know if Kim Jong Un and Xi Jinping have been talking. They obviously talk, but it probably hasn't been recorded. But
True.
their alliance is not what's worrying the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
We're like we like to give democracy to people, and so the narrative is that Taiwan is oppressed by China. We want to give them their own democratic
Right.
autonomy.
Right.
China's saying, hey, if you mess with our neglected cousin, we finna beat y'all up. And
We're about to go Southwest Airlines in Midway concourse on you.
yeah, you don't
Yeah.
want these just egg foo young and egg rolls flying all over. I'm so sorry.
Wrong for
You're
that.
so silly. You are so.
Well, see, I feel like, of course, both of our countries are military mights, but I don't think if we were to go into war, it wouldn't be a military war where it's bombs being dropped. It would be more in the cyberspace and the cyber area,
Mm-hmm.
as well as supply and economics. As far as China provides all the products, so they would withhold some of the like already like the microprocessors and the chips and such that we're lacking that haven't gotten from China based on the supply chain situation.
Right.
Just think if they did it on purpose, what type of turmoil they could cause us. But they need our purchases to sustain their economy. So they're going to have to find a common ground. But I think our biggest beef with China is that China's beef is not beef. I don't know if you ever ordered Chinese food, but that is mystery meat. That's my biggest beef with China. The beef is not beef, and the chicken's not chicken.
You really are about to start an international incident right here on this little radio show.
I'm calling Xi Jinping right now.
Well, you can call all the Xi Jinpings you want, but you better be calling Sparky and Vito and see Fido when see what they are. First thing you better do is find out where your puppy is. But anyway,
stop Asian hate. Stop Asian hate, everybody.
it's not Asian hate, it's Chinese food fraud.
Chinese food fraud.
And it's a Mexican cooking it, so it ain't even got nothing to do
And
with
then
Asian.
there's that. You go into black soul food restaurants and you see people who are not black or appear to have much soul.
Went to a
behind.
jerk chicken place. It was a Hispanic brother back there getting down, and it was good, but it missed that last little level of flavor. You could tell it didn't have the ivory. See how we got off the Asians right quick?
That's a nice move there. So let's move on to the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. As I mentioned earlier, the prosecutors have rested their case in the trial of the three white men charged with chasing and killing Ahmaud Arbery, the young man who was out for a run in last year. And they showed very graphic pictures as they were wrapping up their case on Tuesday. This is a situation in which, and with his family there, in the courtroom, I can only imagine what his mother and father must have been feeling. They did testify. They had experts testifying that Ahmaud Arbery was hit by 2 of the 3 shotgun rounds fired at him. The first shot at close range tore through his artery in his right wrist, punched a big hole in the center of his chest, breaking several ribs and causing heavy internal bleeding. They performed. This is the medical examiner performed an autopsy on Ahmaud Arbery on February 24th, the day after he was killed. As they rest their case, I do want to talk a little bit about what has happened over the last couple of days, and that revolves around the appearance and the presence of 2 major civil rights figures in our community, in our world, actually. The first day was the appearance of Reverend Al Sharpton. He was in the back of the courtroom, and I think this was the first appearance, and the one of the defense attorneys, this was the attorney of William Roddy Bryant, asked for the removal of Reverend Sharpton because he thought he would be a distraction. And the judge said, until you mention it, we didn't even know he was in there.
Because he's tiny. But go ahead.
He is a slimmer version of himself. But he was there to lend support to the Arbery's. And so then he said, well, we don't want any more black preachers in here. And the judge is like, are you serious, dude? This is how you gonna stake your claim and plant your racist flag? He did that was my interpretation of what he said.
Yeah.
And then he started to make a comparison. Well, what if we were to have a bunch of Colonel Sanders wearing white masks? What? And he's like, I'm gonna stop you right here. I'm just going to stop you because this is you're really showing your ignorance and your racist.
Yeah, and the jury
thoughts.
can hear you.
So,
man, I didn't know he added the Colonel Sanders part. Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
Reverend Jackson came down, and Reverend Jackson, 80 years old, just getting over COVID. He has Parkinson's, and he also recently had a fall in Washington, D.C. So just the fact that he's able to make it down there is great on his part, and really commendable. So he's sitting there between Ahmaud's parents, and once again, the same lawyer gets the other two lawyers for the father and son, and they ask for the judge to declare a mistrial. And he's like, no, we're not doing that. They sent the jury out, and they're having this discussion. So Reverend Jackson is back in the courtroom, and he says he will be there as long as it takes. But this now has led to the coalition of over, I'm assuming it's going to be beyond 100, but that's what they said, 100, 150, and I think it's even going to be higher. They're going to have a prayer vigil outside of the courthouse. And so, and this is arranged by Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Jackson and Jamal Bryant and Ben is going to be there. So all of these folks are going to be there for this prayer vigil. This is not what you want if you are trying to get these guys off. And so I'm just wondering, can you put yourself in their heads, or and make some sense out of this, or is it just as wacky to you as it is to me?
Well, to me, it was clearly ignorance and racism, because if they said we didn't want any more famous preachers, or we don't want any more media figures or something like that, then
don't bring Franklin Graham in. Is that what he meant? No.
It could have been innocuous, but to say we don't want any more black preachers showing up, I mean, that's like, wow, the audacity and the comfort that he said it with, like,
Right.
It rolled off the tongue. Like, he basically said, we don't want none of these niggas coming in here.
Right.
Excuse my language. Yeah. These Negro preachers. It was wow. So I think he's really hurt the case. But on the flip side, let's say we bring our civil rights leaders and our civil rights preachers into the courtroom. You're welcome to bring the Billy Graham Juniors or anybody else that represents your religion as a support in that case. So how does that sway the trial? But the fact that you made that statement has already probably turned the jurors and everything sour.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. I think what they have now brought to the case and talking about, bringing Black folks in to support Black folks. But I also think that they have made it, for me, it was a visual of how Ahmaud Arbery felt as he was being chased down by these three white men, and, and bringing attention and how people in that town respond to you. And if you're so afraid of these great men, and what their presence, just being in the courtroom means, just how did this kid feel as he's surrounded by these white people, and how they, for probably his life, he was treated by them.
Yeah. And just like, never mind the fact that Ahmaud Arbery's family are surrendering courthouse seats for their own extended family. Right. So that Reverend Jesse, Reverend Al can join them in the courtroom. And this lawyer really underestimates us. I mean, just like the cookout Karen who weaponized the police on folks in Cali.
Yeah.
You say you don't want any more Black preachers. All of us are going to be there.
Yeah, and that's true, Cameron, because there are other organizations like Black Mothers for Ahmaud and Black Mothers in support of Ahmaud's mother, also planning to be there, and it may not be on the same day as the prayer vigil, but that has started a number of different opportunities for people to get there and show their support for the family.
You better play the Black Jesus. That's all. That's all I'm
You
saying.
know what?
If I'm one of the defendants, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, we said that in the back. We didn't,
Right? Come on, dude.
we expect you to bring that to the courthouse, man.
Dude,
That was us
you
talking
forgot
in
to
the
take off your
room,
That
hood,
was
trying to
man.
just
keep
us
them black preachers out
boys
of here.
talking.
And you took
Yeah.
your dumb ass out here and said it. You forgot that the cameras are rolling. Whoa, lighten up.
Right? Can we cut, please? You forgot to take off his
Yeah,
hood. Can we just
Yeah,
cut?
yeah. Or
yeah,
take that, put it in your pocket,
yeah. They should ask for a mistrial based on their own
your
lawyer.
defense. Yeah,
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 exactly.
that might be a technicality. He threw the case.
absolutely. Absolutely. A couple more things I do want to talk about that are in the newsletter. We have the opportunity and the services of a wonderful CPA, Katrina Kraft, and every week she does uh, give us advice, and especially this time of year as we are looking towards the end of the year and talking about filing taxes. And today, talking about filing taxes after a divorce and what they absolutely have to do. So, and how this can make a difference in I guess in once you make the decision to divorce and how that happens. So she kind of gives you a step by step thing. Before we talked about marriage, then we talked about children, and and now we're at the divorce stage. Sorry, but really good information there. And also, as we talk about the coronavirus update, which is always wonderful, some of the things that have come about as a result of the coronavirus and are not going to the doctor the way we should and our regular appointments and things like that, how a number of us have uncontrolled high blood pressure as a result. And so just want to remind people that according to these statistics, only 53% of adults in the US had their blood pressure under control last year in 2020 compared to a higher number in 2019. And the reasons are, you're not able to get into your doctor or whatever. But we do know the repercussions of not taking care of that and how the effects of it can lead to heart attack, stroke, and of course kidney disease and things like that. So take care of yourselves. That's something that we are advocating for and checking in and checking up on this show as well as in the newsletter. So Damon, I know you're taking care of yourself.
Well, I'm trying my best, but I want to advise everyone that the blood pressure monitors are not that expensive. And it's just,
Right.
I know it's hard to get a doctor's appointment. It's hard to get your doctor on the phone. It's hard to get in unless you go to emergency. But for the cost of a copay, you could probably get your own blood pressure monitor. And hypertension is a silent killer. So you got to be on top of that because you can feel just fine one day and your blood pressure could be 200 over 100 and you can fall the hell out. So,
Right.
monitor that. And if you have blood pressure medication, stay on it. Don't think, well, I feel better today, I'm
Right.
not going to take my medication, because that's something that's actually taking place in our household, and we caught it in time. But it's very, very important that if you can't get in and get seen, because we understand people's financial situations with copays and all of that right now, go and buy one. You can get them at a Walgreens or a CVS and have that around the house and check your whole family.
And I'm one of those that that has a monitor thanks to my friends, and so that is, and it's so easy. It's very easy to do, and as you said, it's not expensive at all. Let's look at entertainment. I do want to quickly remind people tonight our friend Kim Whitley starts a series of programs, a special premiering tonight on OWN. It's called The Big Holiday Food Fight. It's on the Oprah Winfrey Network. That is at 9 o'clock Eastern, and I think it runs for 5 episodes, she said. So congratulations. And when it's Kim, it's going to be silly fun. And they call it a holiday food fight. So you can imagine what's going to happen here. And also congratulations to our friend Sherry Shepard for her ratings during the week she guest hosted for Wendy Williams. The best numbers they've had. And she is going to return in the guest host spot, I think in a couple of weeks. So, so
actually,
proud of her.
Bill Bellamy hosted today.
Yeah.
He shouted out a show we're having in Atlanta, which is on the 27th at the Fox Theater. So that was dope.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Of course, the ratings went up when Wendy's face wasn't on the show. I'm sorry.
You know what? I expected it. How you doing?
How you doing?
All right, guys. So it's now time to wrap up. Damon, do you have any other appearances beyond the one that Bill shouted out?
Yes, this weekend, Baltimore Comedy Factory. I love that club. They come out in droves. They're big time joiner listeners, so I'll be there Friday and Saturday.
And
And
explaining
then,
why you weren't on the ship.
no, not at all.
Okay.
That ship has sailed, as we like to say.
Thank
Um,
you.
So we have
Tomorrow night in Chicago at the Promontory with Just Niche, and she's hilarious.
Oh, she's
And the
great.
guy named Ben's so funny. He's visually impaired, but he does all these jokes about he can see. He's hilarious. So that's gonna be great. And of course, Riddles this weekend. I have the three Chicago legends: Leon Rogers, Kenny Howe, and my man Jeff B. So that's enough. If you got any of that, check it on the replay if you did.
Nice. Absolutely nice. And Cam, any more vacations or any other evenings out?
Playcations.
Playcations.
Yeah, I mean, follow me on Instagram. I just released some trailers for some of my shorts. Sybil, you
Short
watched them, I hope you
videos. Yes, absolutely
enjoyed
loved
them.
them. Yes.
And I also do like a weekly character analysis and breakdowns. I did a character analysis of Cherokee Bill from The Harder They Fall. So that's Cameron with the KH_Riley. And yeah, let's chop it up.
Okay. All right. Let's chop it up, folks, ladies and gentlemen. It's now time for Yogi's Jewel. Let's take a look at this. You only have a certain amount of time to share with the people you love. You only have a certain amount of time to share with the people you love. I thought that bears repeating. So thanks, guys. I thank you for sharing your time with me and with all of those that are listening and watching today. We appreciate you. And please go out there and be good to each other. Check in, check up, and we'll see you soon. Aloha.
Everybody, good night.